treehouses, just things that are different and unusual, start to realize that this little niche of short-term rentals is not only profitable, but is matured enough to invest it into. But gosh, I'd love to work on a castle out there in Northern Ireland with you.
So welcome to the Digital Empowerment Podcast, and today I'm super excited to be joined by Mark. Mark, thank you for taking time out. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to chat with you today. So I'm in the short-term rental industry. A lot of people think of it, know it as the Airbnb industry, because Airbnb has really kind of branded the industry around their name. But me and my team, we set up short-term rentals. So if you come to us with an empty property and you want to get into that hospitality space and start accommodating guests and travelers from all around the world, maybe folks from Ireland as well, we'll help you get the property designed, renovated, set up, staged, and create a great experience for your guests.
Amazing. And you've got a really catchy name for the business. I'll let you tell us a little bit.
Yeah. If you are a millennial or you watch TVs back in the early 2000s, you know the show MTV Cribs, MTV Cribs. And we kind of spun it off and did a STR Cribs is really after that show. And then we always internally joke around and say like, hey, we're going to pimp your crib. So we stole the pimp your ride slogan too. But it's STR Cribs, short-term rental cribs. And if you're watching this on video, I don't know if anybody is, but you can see behind me, this is really just some of the properties that we set up. They're really, really cool.
Yeah, no, it looks amazing. And gosh, you really leaned into a really good name that kind of reflects exactly what you do. So good memories. Yeah, I remember watching MTV Cribs. It used to be a great show back in the day, but what to do? Hopefully people will go and have a look at some of the episodes on YouTube. What made you spot, or what had you spot the need for a specialized short-term rental renovation and design service that you offer?
That's a great question. I think it's really kind of twofold. One, I had done a lot of traveling in my early 20s, and we'd done some traveling in Europe as well, and really enjoyed ourselves. Me and my wife had initially started staying at hostels. We thought that would be how we would travel. And it was fun for a while, and then it wasn't. And we realized we were maybe a little older than the crowd. And we then switched to hotels. We didn't love that. So we did a lot of short-term rental stays through Airbnb. And it just kind of fell in love with the experience as a traveler ourselves. And then as we came back to the US, we decided to kind of get into the industry. We're super hosts. We own our own properties. And then as I noticed, especially in the US, the market has really changed from what used to work in short-term rentals, which was just maybe an air mattress and a hot plate, to really properties being part of the experience and guests looking for much nicer accommodations, amenities, games, fun things to do, unique homes and unique stays. That really seemed to be the trend that we saw. And so we ended up kind of diving in with both feet and really starting to help folks take advantage of that. And since we started, our company's done about 500 properties from beginning to finish, and really, really stood out in the market. So it's been fun.
Incredible. So many questions. So would you go in, the property would be a shell, or it would be okay and you'd have to convert it, or a mix of both?
Yeah, I would say about 80% of our work is a completely empty property that we do everything on. And then about 20% of it is maybe a property that's underperforming or just needs some love and some help. And so that's really the split.
And incredible. I spent maybe too long going through your website and looking at some of your socials, and my word, yeah, like when you're saying pimp the properties, you mean it. Like I'll be totally honest, I've done some good Airbnbs, but I've never seen on like your portfolio. So again, if this is the future, I would say we are definitely not there in the UK yet, but gosh, if this is the way it's going, it looks an incredible. And so the market's getting a wee bit contracted or mature, and you're saying that then there's a need then to make your property really special to guarantee that 90, 80%, 100% occupancy. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, you are right. The European market, the UK market is very different than the United States. But yes, in the US, we are seeing quite a bit of competition in kind of that 3-bedroom, 2-bath space where they're really just, if you go look at any city in America, you can find the same home 100 times over. And so it means if you're stuck in the middle, it's really hard to compete. And so you've got to do something to differentiate and stand out. And that's what we do, is we make sure that if you're in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, you've got the number one house in that market and you are always booked before anybody else because everyone wants to stay at your place.
Incredible. So what's the core mission or the vision and of the business? What's the, that's driving all your growth?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that obviously, you're the expert in this, the digital marketing, online presence we haven't spent $1 on ad. And that's something that we're really, really proud of as a team, is we haven't done any paid ads yet. It's all come through organic traffic, just really showing off our book of business, what we do, a lot of word of mouth, some great podcasts, chatting with you today and just kind of getting the word out there has been really powerful. And then repeat clients. We really pride ourselves on taking care of the folks that we're working with, and they end up coming back to us time and time again. And so that's really been our growth strategy today.
Wow, incredible. And do you mind taking us through the services that you offer then? So it's designed all the way through, but I let you tell us what it is.
Yeah, so think about it as from wherever the property sits to wherever it needs to be in order to be ready for that first guest to check in. We'll do everything in between. And so if that's putting smart locks on the front door, if that's replacing tile floors, painting walls, new appliances, furniture, decor, TVs, swimming pools, hot tubs, whatever you need to go from where your property sits today to where it needs to be for that first guest to check in, we'll do for you. And even down to making sure the property's been professionally cleaned, had professional photos. There's propane in the barbecue tank. There's batteries in the television remote. If it's not ready for that first guest to check in, we're not done. And so we'll really do anything you need.
That's incredible. It sounds like you've handled a lot of these. So you've got a lot of knowledge or data and years of experience. Is there trends and things that you see that you just hopping on, and then things that just drive you crazy?
Yeah. You always hear the term, at least we do in the US, is Airbnb bust, right? We hear people say the market's oversaturated. There's too many houses. There's no return for investors. There was a lot of misinformation, in my opinion, especially during the pandemic, where you had a lot of online gurus and people that would come out and say, you don't need any capital to invest in this. You can do arbitrage, you can sublease, you can do the bare minimum to get your property up and furnished and ready, and you'll see huge returns. And this is no different than any other industry. What business model on planet Earth, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true, right? There's no business that you can invest no money and no time in and become a millionaire in. That's just not real. And when you see that, it irks me a little bit. And I go, man, people are getting conned into this. And I saw it really heavily in our industry. This is the hospitality industry. There's a reason that a very small percentage of companies own all of the hotels, because it's hard, right? You've got to have turnover. You've got cleaning services. You've got check-in, check-out. You've got damage. You don't know who's staying at your property. They're only there for a night or a couple of nights. Hospitality is hard at its core, right? And so what I see and what I like to tell people is, if you're going to get into this space, or if you are in this space, it's hard work. You got to roll up your sleeves and you got to get after it. It's rewarding, but it's not easy. And so the thing that it irks me is when I hear people say, this is easy, anyone can do this. No way. This is the hospitality industry. Owning a hotel is hard. Owning an Airbnb is hard as well.
Wow. Yeah, no, I definitely can echo that. Hospitality is not easy, no way. And trends then, have you seen things that are super hot that just are just tick, tick, tick? You need to put them into Airbnbs no matter what and where they are?
Yeah, I do think so. There's a pretty long amenities list when you build a new listing, right? They're going to ask you, do you have a full-length mirror? Do you have reading materials? Do you have board games? Do you have a coffee maker? Do you have pots? They're going to ask you hundreds of questions. The more you can answer, the more you can provide that yes, that checkbox, the better your listing is going to do organically on their website. And so really making sure your home is well stocked is going to be important. And then a big trend I'm seeing is kind of the unique stays. And so those like tree houses, or even in Northern Ireland, you guys have the castle experiences, and just things that are different and unusual are doing really, really well. And I think they're going to continue to do better. And kind of the standard flat that's across the street from a hotel, it's going to be hard for you to compete in that space. You want to be unique and different.
And what's your favorite transformation that you've done? What's the one that you're maybe most proud of? I'm sure there's a few.
I always really enjoy the heavily themed properties. And I'm not saying you have to do this, but we've done like a Star Wars themed house, and we've done a Disney themed house, and we've done, where we've got a house right across the street from the spring training center in Arizona, where where all the Major League Baseball teams come to train. We've got a really heavily themed baseball theme house. And so those kind of unique homes that are really special to their market, those are always fun for me.
Incredible. Yeah, that's okay. So teams are a win, and that's good. And obviously online, offline, exceeding customers' expectations, getting the 5-star reviews. How do you do that? Obviously super host as well. Wow.
Yeah, reviews are hard. I would say that I think about your reviews and your hospitality score as really being like a pilot on an airplane, right? Your takeoff and your landing are the two most important things. And in hospitality short-term rentals, that is your check-in and your checkout. And so if you can make those smooth transitions where people can get right into the house, the door lock works, they know the code, they know how to get to the property, they know the Wi-Fi password and network, those kind of things are really important. And then the same thing with checkout. Is it smooth and easy? The turbulence in the middle is really easy to overcome. People don't tend to remember that, but they definitely remember that first impression and the last impression. And so if you can get really good at those two things, I think that you're going to set yourself up for success, and you're going to have no problem getting great 5-star reviews.
Incredible. And obviously you're going in and dealing with property and dealing with contractors and suppliers. Do you find this a challenge to deal with renovating design and installation of these rentals? Is there a lot of challenges and issues around construction?
Absolutely. There's always issues around construction, pulling permits, shipping delays, people not showing up to work, products being out of stock. It's a heavy lift. And I think that's really what's so attractive about our service and what we do, and why a lot of investors decide just to use our service, because we handle that all for you. It's our problem, not yours. Yeah, there's a lot of weekend calls and hey, we've got to think of some alternative way to do this because what we originally thought isn't going to work. So we put a lot of creativity and hard work behind it. And I think at the end of the day, when you've got a beautiful finished home that produces really great revenue, all the hiccups and headaches that happened along the way kind of fade away.
I know a lot of good friends and family who've renovated or done extensions and things to their homes, and there's not one person I know that has been on budget or under budget. So I guess maybe there's a secret to that as well. But how do you deal with budgets or staying on budget and time? Is that just by experience?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's through a lot of experience doing a lot of homes and knowing about what things are going to cost. But then we'll actually go in once we get started, and in the first couple weeks, do a full scope of work. So we'll walk the property with our painting crew and our architect and the flooring guy and really get hard bids on all the work to be done, present that to the owner and say, hey, this is going to be a $100,000 project. This is going to be a $125,000 project, but we've really done all of our due diligence on the front end. Of course, there are things that come up. You tear down a wall and there's dry rot or there's mold and things that you couldn't anticipate or predict. But I would say for the most part, we do a pretty dang good job of knowing upfront what this project's going to cost you. And we also understand time is money. As everyone on our team, we're all invested in the short-term rental space. If a project takes you 2 months longer than you thought and your house makes 15 grand a month, Well, that project just costs you an additional $30,000. And so we really try to hit the ground running, we front load it. We do as much as quickly as possible on the front end so that we can get that project done and move on to the next one and get you making money. So.
Wow, and I hadn't actually thought about that. Of course, yeah, it's slightly different. We try to push through websites and it can take 4 or 5, sometimes 6 months. But yeah, as you say, time is money, so there's an extra incentive there for sure.
Yeah, and what's interesting too, that's so unique about the short-term rental market is it's seasonal too, right? And so if you bought a property in January and it's a Florida property and the busy season is going to be May, June, July, you've got a 90-day window to get that thing up and launched before the busy season. If you don't catch that busy season right, it might not be a $30,000. You might cost yourself $100,000 by running a couple months long on a project because you've missed your most profitable months. And so you've really got to be strategic about your timelines, dependent upon where the property is in the market that you're in and what time of the year you acquire the home and when your busy season is going to be.
Obviously, you've got a lot of experience and what you've done. What's your, I think no better person to ask, but what's your view on the future then? How do you see the short-term rental market maturing over the next couple of years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we're going to start to see a lot of institutional money coming into the short-term rental space. Today, I think when Airbnb posted their reports, 99% of hosts and investors are still the onesie twosies. So mom and pop, we own 1 or 2 properties, and that's really the vast majority of the industry. I think we're going to start to see some funds, some institutional money, Marriott and Hilton and some of these big players in hospitality start to realize that this little niche of short-term rentals is not only profitable, but is matured enough to invest it into. And you're going to see Marriott competing with you and owning 100 houses in your market and 3 hotels. And so that's why I'm talking about doubling down on creating a great guest experience and having a unique style home experience, because we might not have that big money competition today, but it's just around the corner, and it's a lot harder to compete with the Marriott than it is to compete with Susie down the road, right?
Yeah, wow, okay, that's a call to arms there for sure. That's incredible.
Oh, definitely. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think I am. I think that they've mastered the hotel industry. I think a lot of folks in the short-term rental industry don't think that we're at competition with them, but we absolutely are, right? We're all in the hospitality space. People are paying nightly to stay in our properties, and they have the option between a hotel and between your home, and you've got to do something to stand out from that hotel, because the hotel industry's got hundreds of years and they do it relatively well. And it's going to be hard to compete with them when they get into the houses as well.
100%. No, I'm sure they've been looking at this over the last 5-10 years going, what are we going to do? And you're right. It's if I was in the hotel, I'd be thinking, right, we need to go to where the market is. Let's run. So, interesting. So you've seen probably loads of mistakes that people make when they're renovating their own properties or trying to do them up themselves. What's the things that you see all the time?
Okay, yes. So the mistakes I see a lot of folks think about the property as if it was their home, right? They're making decisions based upon what they would want to see out of the property. And I'm actually guilty of doing this myself. Me and my wife had set up a new property, I think in February, March, 3 or 4 months ago. And we launched, and I had one TV in the living room, and I didn't have TVs in the bedroom. It was a 4-bedroom house. I don't watch TV. We don't typically have TVs in our house in the bedrooms. And I didn't really think about it. And we had a few guests message and say, hey, are there televisions in the bedrooms? I don't see them in the pictures. And I'm sitting there with my wife. I'm an expert. I know better than this, but I said, why the heck do they need TVs? They're at the beach. Go to the beach and enjoy the vacation with your family. And she said, it doesn't matter what you want. Our guests are asking for televisions, and TVs only cost a couple $100. So go get some TVs and put them in the bedroom. And so I'm even guilty of this, making decisions based upon what you think the home should have or what you would want to see in a vacation, and not appealing to the masses, and remembering that you are going to get people from all different social economic statuses, walks of life, age demographics, group sizes, how can you best accommodate the largest percentage of those people and make decisions based upon that, not based upon your own personal preferences.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, and obviously, yes, it's always obvious when you see it, but what to do? You'd mentioned TVs and some tech. Then has tech become and digital become very important to homes now? Do people expect to have fancy gadgets and flashing blue lights everywhere?
I don't know if you got to have flash and blue lights, but there's definitely some core features, right? You've got to have a smart lock. No one wants to open up the old lockbox anymore, and then they lose the keys. Just spend the $100 and get a smart lock on the front door. You can change the code between guests, which really prevents potential problems of someone coming back to the house or someone duplicating a key. So that's really important. I would say for some safety issues, they make like noise monitors now that you can monitor the internal noise in your property, making sure people aren't throwing a party, making sure you're not upsetting your neighbors. Things like that can be really, really important to safety and overall guest satisfaction. Televisions are important. Wi-Fi is really important. We've got a lot of folks traveling. They work remotely. Their computer is their livelihood. And so make sure you have good, fast internet. And so really those are the basics. I don't think you have to go crazy fancy with flashing lights and Bluetooth surround sound and all this, that, the little Alexa boxes and things like that. Those are maybe nice to haves. They're not must haves for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, there's no, if I go somewhere there's no internet or slow internet, I said it's a disaster. It's like I'm ready to pack the bags and head out. It's game over.
Definitely. And even if it's bad internet, right? So you want to make sure you have as fast internet as you possibly can and do some of those things.
Incredible. So obviously you've many years experience. What's some of the lessons you've learned on the road and how you approach business and even clients and client services?
Yeah, I would say a couple pieces. One, I'm really proud of when I look at the numbers and we see how many of our clients are repeat clients. And I think that taking care of the customer you have in front of you is significantly more important than going out and getting a second, a third, fourth customer. It's like if you're in a boat and there's holes in it and there's water coming in and you're bucketing out the water, but you're not fixing the holes in the boat, then you have a bigger problem, right? So make sure you're taking care of your customers. The next thing is taking care of your people. I think that's probably understated in business often. And if you have a team of rock stars and they're well taken care of and they live and breathe what you're doing, it radiates through everything that you do. Your customers know it when you're advertising, when you're marketing, when you have business partnerships. Everyone knows that your team is bought in and they want to be part of what you're doing, whether that's on a partnership level or on a client level or referring people to you. So take care of your customers, take care of your people. And I think being flexible is really important too. Not flexible on like your core values and your standards and what you do, but being able to meet your client where they're at on their journey can really help you out. And so I always tend to say yes, sure, what do you need? Okay, we got you. Maybe that's a little unusual. Maybe we haven't done that before, but let's find a way to make it profitable for us and take care of your problem for you. And those would really be like the three core pieces to succeeding in business. It's not hard.
Wow, excellent. I like how you do business, Mark. There's no doubt there. How do you keep innovating then? How do you keep things fresh and leading the market as you do?
Yeah, I think that giving our team a lot of creative freedom to do what they think is best and not micromanaging really gives us the opportunity to innovate and to do something new and fresh and always stay ahead of the curve. We're also hyper competitive and we're always watching our competitors and seeing what they're doing and learning from them. And, I'm going to be on a webinar in 30 minutes. I'll say this because I know this podcast is not going to drop, but it's with one of our competitors and I'm going to be a fly on the wall and I'm secret shopping them. I'm going to listen to everything they say. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to maybe, if I can get one little nugget of something that they're doing that's working and I can take that back to the team, I'm going to do that. And so having good people, giving them the freedom, and then looking at the landscape and always being willing to learn, I think is going to help you keep ahead.
Incredible, excellent. So I have two last questions. Actually, so when's STR Cribs Northern Ireland opening? That's the first one, eh? And yeah, we need to get that going for sure. And of course, if anyone wants to see what you're doing, to find out more, understand what states that you service, or even have a chat, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I'll share my email with you. You probably drop it in the show notes. Is that okay?
Yeah, oh for sure.
And then I'll get you my LinkedIn too, so they can email me or shoot me a DM on LinkedIn. I'm super active on LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me. As far as when we're going international, that's a great question. I would say if you want some help doing some virtual design, some consultation and stuff, that's super easy. We'll help you do that. We'll look at your property from afar. We'll give you our thoughts and ideas and maybe give you a little bit of a playbook or a blueprint. And as far as us being out there, swinging a hammer and doing the work, that gets us into a whole another strew of problems that it probably ain't going to happen in the near future. But when it does, you'll be the first to know.
Oh, very good. And where do you serve all of the US, or what states do you work in?
We do. Yeah. We serve the continental US. So we're not in like Hawaii and Alaska, which are pretty remote in distance, but the 48 states we're there. And right now we've set up homes in about 30 different markets. And so we've actively done a lot of projects in most of those states. And that's why, when you look at the international markets, it's hard to go out there because we've got so much more room to grow in our own market. But gosh, I'd love to work on a castle out there in Northern Ireland with you.
So here, just between us, we get it bought and then we can get it sorted for sure. But
yeah, see if you can find one for sale. I'll come out there and help you fix it up.
done for sure. No, Brian. Well, again, we'll keep in touch. We'll have underneath the video links to the website and your LinkedIn profile, and for sure, hopefully people will get in touch and say hello, or just go through your website and socials and see what you're sharing. So again, Mark, thank you very much for your time today. It's been brilliant, and we'll chat again, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad to connect with you. Glad to chat with everybody, and I look forward to talking soon.